Travis. We're joined here by Perry. We got Seb, and we have Bilz, a Spurs fan.
Glory, glory to Tottenham Hotspur.
Something like that. Something like that.
Ambitions.
So, before we go on to talk about ambitions, I wanted to talk about Spurs' summer so far because I feel like it's been pretty active, like especially on the departure, like especially on the departures.
Yeah, like we signed what 7 players went with Gareth Bale money, which, in my opinion, was a bit like wastefully spent. But the ones that have actually started to become good over the last couple of years, your Chadley, Ericsson, I think that's it to be honest. Apart from them, that's how peak it is. 2 out of 7. Like,
Now, Ericsson's a good player. I do like Ericsson. I think he's a very good player, actually.
yeah, he was actually a bargain. Him and Chadley, to be fair, like 11 million and 7 million for Ericsson and Chadley.
So,
Not too bad to be fair, but we spent 30 odd mil on Lamela. We're still hoping he'll come good. He's definitely got it in his locker. Whether he can actually do it in the league,
he showed glimpses.
glimpses, but not necessarily the whole package just as yet. But he's still young.
Did Kapue come in? Is it Kapue? Did he come in that summer as well?
Capoue came in, yeah.
He's gone now, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, he's gone. He's gone, which is crazy because I heard like well everyone's linked with Arsenal, but I heard he was linked with Arsenal that summer. So
Yeah,
the fact that he ended up at Spurs and then didn't make it and now is at Watford is a bit crazy. But
yeah. Like fair play to him, giving it another shot in the league, trying to sort of still trying to make it in the league in the Premier League.
I
Obviously,
think I think Pochettino just wanted to get rid of loads of dead wood in it, like and just start kind of fresh. That's why he's got rid of all these guys, brought in a few players. But you know what I've noticed? I like the Alderweireld signing because he's like solid, man. Like looking at him at Southampton and that, he was solid. And a lot of people reckon he was one of the best centre backs last season in the league.
yeah. I think Alderweireld, he's a good signing. I don't think we intended to sign 2 centre backs. I don't know if it was the intention, but it like to be fair, our defence was shocking last season. It was like the third or fourth worst, something like that, in the league, which is really bad for a team who's trying to compete for the Champions League, like top 4 spot.
you
So
got
you brought in Alderweireld and Wimmer,
yeah.
Dele Alli as well, defensive midfielder. So do you think that was the main focus that you were missing last season? Just
Well,
defensive stability.
yeah. In terms of defensibility, we've got Trippier as well, right back. I think he was quality last year, especially playing for Burnley. He had good performances against some good teams like Chelsea, and I think like he was one of the most creative young fullbacks in Europe as well. And he's good at crossing, good at defense, good at his defensive duties, and he's good down the wing as well.
Yeah,
Creative,
he loves them crosses, doesn't he?
yeah. And
What
to be fair, I've seen a couple of pre-season games, and like he's bagged a couple of assists already, and it's just like nothing for him. So I'm looking forward to seeing him push for that right back spot. But defensively, I think we've done all right in the transfer window. Like you said, we signed Wimmer. He's got potential. But the main thing is we signed Alderweireld. He's a solid defensive centre back. Um,
Alderweireld is serious, man.
yeah, he's on his job. And do you know what? He worked with Vertonghen at Ajax where they won trophies.
Mm. And Ericsson as well, so he's going to link up
Yeah.
back with
yeah.
them two from the Ajax days.
They are replacements for was it Kirikesh who went to Napoli and Kabul? Where did
Yeah,
Kabul go?
Sunderland.
Sunderland.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, I thought we've gotten rid of the dead woods and replaced them with some quality additions. But what's worried me is sort of lack of activeness in the sort of midfield. We haven't actually upgraded our midfield just as yet, apart from Dele Alli, which Seb mentioned earlier. We signed him in January, which I think is a quality signing. We'll probably get onto him a bit later. But in terms of actually upgrading centre mid position or even a defensive midfield position, we haven't done that just yet. And Eric Dyer had a wicked season last year playing centre back and right back. I've even seen him in pre-season, playing in centre defensive midfield, and I think Do you know what I mean? Every quality team going for the top four, even your title, you need a solid centre mid. You know, Chelsea got their Matic. Man City, when they won the title, had Yaya Toure, who's on fire. Liverpool, when they were in their prime, had their Gerrard. Arsenal have gone through quite a few centre mids when they've been challenging. I don't think they've been challenging for the title, and I think that's probably why they haven't had that solid centre mid. But they've had other quality players. I don't think we've got enough centre mids that can come in and enforce the game.
So talk to us about this new stadium then. Are you excited? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a big stadium, man. Like, the plans look good. It's going to be a top quality stadium in the UK, in London especially.
That biggest stadium in London.
Yeah, I think we're pushing. I don't know. Are we pushing?
It was a 61,000, which was
Bigger
cheap.
than It's bigger
Which
than
was
isn't it?
Yeah, it was cheeky, that 61,000.
Yeah, it's just like it was like a little.
Can't be playing on Channel 5 in that stadium, mate.
Oh, trust me. I don't think we can get enough Europa League sales to fill that out. To be fair, but you know
As a
what?
fan, are you happy with that? Are you happy with the timing of choosing to build a stadium now? Like,
It
would
needs
you
to
rather?
happen.
Yeah.
It needs to happen. I think Spurs. It's a bit of a given that Spurs can't compete with your Man City, your Manchester United, your Arsenal, and your Liverpool in terms of spending and maintaining a top four position because of the lack of investment. And the only way you're going to get that is by being able to increase your revenue. Once you increase your revenue, you can spend more and invest. That's what Arsenal will be able to do once they paid for the new stadium. They've made some top quality additions the last couple of years, and they're getting closer and closer to challenging for the title, which this season is probably going to be their season to actually compete for the title.
Do you reckon that the whole stadium, the whole stadium deal itself is because of, obviously we know that football is a business now. Do you reckon it's more of a business transaction, or do you reckon it's more of a ambitious footballing thing? Like, is it more of a can we attract better players to the club, or is it more of a business deal? Like,
I think a bit of both because I think that both of them complement each other. If it's a good business deal, to get to the next level, you need to invest to be able to, if you want to increase the amount of fans you got globally, you need to be playing exciting football and win trophies. To do that, you need to be able to invest in your team, like the top teams have done over the years. Be able to make. I think we need to get to a level where we can make a marquee signing every season, like Manchester United are used to doing, or Real Madrid, or Barcelona. You're used to those teams are used to making a marquee signing, and like it's nothing, and it's sort of like a privilege for those players to come and play for the club. And we're not really in that we're not in that category just yet, but we're pushing to get there. Like even Liverpool, they haven't been where they should have been for the last 5 years or so, but they've still got that status of being a top quality club.
Going off what you just said, I think a lot of the reason with especially Liverpool and Spurs is not consistent Champions League. I think if you get that consistent Champions League, then you'll get the consistent marquee signings.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's true. Again, Liverpool can go for not Liverpool, Arsenal. They've been in Champions League for a while. I can't remember a season when they haven't been in the Champions League.
you say this, but Travis, you mentioned that, but I think nowadays with all these TV deals and that, you're seeing smaller teams being able to afford to buy players who previously you'd have considered unattainable for a team of that status. Like, you look at teams outside the top four are now purchasing players that a few years ago you would not imagine them purchasing. Do you know what I'm saying? So
I think Stoke City being a prime example, buying Ibrahim Afellay, got the Boyan within their ranks.
Stoke did a few. Obviously we've seen Southampton buying players. They haven't been in the top four. So
Stoke have been bidding like crazy this summer. Like, the players might have not been signing for them, but they've had quite a few bids accepted. They've been putting in them big bids for players.
Bilz, Harry Kane, talk to us. What's he got in store for the next season?
Do you know
Coming,
what?
coming to United, isn't it?
Do you know what? I don't think he will. I don't think, not just yet. I reckon he'll hang around for a few seasons. I think it's too predictable to make that decision, and I think he's cut from a different cloth to your Sterling and other
Definitely.
players. He seems a bit more of a passionate player, and prime example, scoring against Chelsea, scoring against Arsenal. Like you can't make up a face like that when you score.
Yeah, he seems to really. I can see it because from an Arsenal perspective, I can see it. He seems to love playing for Spurs. Like
So,
I think he's embraced the love that the Spurs fans have given him, and
Yeah.
it means a lot to him.
Seb, do you reckon Harry Kane is the real deal? Like, do you reckon he's like a one season wonder, or do you reckon like this guy is the real deal? Like, can you see this guy with longevity in the league, and realistically, would you like to see him at United? If not, then why or why not?
He's shown flashes that he could be the real deal. I mean, what 20 goals last season did he get? Was it?
I
21.
know he scored over 30 in all competitions, which is sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a good return. I mean, it's not like he played in patches either. It's quite consistent, so that's a good sign there first and foremost. Whether he's the striker we need at United, I'm not too sure yet.
I think a lot of people are forgetting, especially Spurs fans, were forgetting that he's come through the team with minimal pressure on his back, having to sort of beat the bar of Adebayor and Soldado, which they didn't set it very high, to be fair. You know, Adebayor had fans raving after 12 goals a season the season before. So to walk in, all he had to do was bang a goal on his debut, and
True.
you know what I mean, they had the fans screaming. But this season, there's a lot more pressure behind him. Or even if he was to go to Man U next season on a big money transfer, you've got a lot of pressure, and that could kill a man's career. But I think if he can get 10 goals or more than 10 goals, I think he's shown that he can deal with the pressure. He's still a young lad, like 21,
Yeah.
22. He can score a variety of goals, show what he can do on the pitch, and have fun doing it as well.
Good point you make about the being able to handle the pressure, because obviously he came through kind of organically. Now he's like got the whole of the Premiership watching what he does. All eyes on me, sort of thing.
But saying that, he had, I think, like match of the day, Sky Sports have been talking about him and analysing him post matches, like from 2014, and he's been playing every Premier League game since then. So like if you're a manager coming against Tottenham after he's been banging goals, you're saying, look, mark the fuck out of this player.
Yeah, definitely.
Who gets the pip for that wing spot? Is it Lamella, or is it like Andros Townsend, or who's getting that spot, man?
I've been asking myself the same question. I was actually hoping we'd have a winger. Nothing special, 10 to 15 mil.
Balassi?
I would love Balassi. I think he would be the perfect signing.
So then what happens to like Lennon and all these guys? What, you just ship them out?
Lennon, I feel like he's been like sort of just casted out of the squad, which I think is a bit out of order. He's been at the club for 10 years. He's won a trophy at the club. He's got us into the Champions League. Like these were high moments for the club. Do you know what I mean? Like, and to be sort of cast out of the team is a bit poor. But in terms of the wingers right now, I don't think, apart from Chadley, because he banged more than 10 goals last year in the league, apart from him, I don't think any other wingers deserve, are given the right to actually be told, yeah, this is your spot. I reckon they need to fight.
So you reckon it's like a free for all for that
Yeah,
right wing?
like, I reckon even the youths, the young ones, I reckon if they've been having a good pre-season and keeping up with Pochettino's regime and not complaining and just getting on with it and impressing, I feel like they should be given a chance, because Lamela, 30 million or 1 million, I don't think he did much for us last year. He had glimpses like you guys mentioned, but
I guess I'd like to see Lamela again this season. You can't just write him off after one season, because as we said throughout this, like clearly we've seen glimpses of quality. And
But I swear it's not even one season; it's 2 seasons now, isn't it?
he was injured for the majority of the first season. So
yeah, he
last
didn't play too much. Yeah, but you're right. It is 2 seasons. I think is I don't even want to compare, but it's a bit of the Ozil situation where like Lamela has to he has to perform this season. Do you know what I mean? He has to perform this season. I wouldn't be surprised if Lennon left. I have been surprised by his treatment actually. Now Bill's
Yeah.
mentioned it, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he left.
I, I think you're right. Like in terms of saying, you can't really write off a player, but at the same time, you got to sort of find the middle. You can't really say to this is your spot. I reckon that they need to just work hard for it because he's got a big price tag.
Definitely.
I
So
think
Seb,
That's the thing.
what do you reckon?
That's the thing. It's going to have to get given another chance, really. Pay the big price tag, like you were saying, Bill. I mean, selling him is not an option because he hasn't performed on that level, so you're not going to get anywhere near
No way.
the amount of money you pay for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's shown flashes of brilliance.
How
So
much
I'd say,
How much did they actually buy him for?
is it 32?
27 mil.
Something crazy. 'Cause Sanchez costs about that much.
Yeah, and Sanchez, he was a ready-made player, but again, from Spurs, we're looking to sort of cut corners and spend 30 million on a player that is not really there yet, but has the potential to follow in the footsteps of Bell, ideally, in an ideal world. But
Yeah, I think if you don't see anything from him this season, you have to just cut your losses because
Yeah.
2 seasons to adapt physically to the league,
Yeah.
that's his main issue. I mean, he did look a bit weak against some of these English defenders.
how long did it take Cristiano Ronaldo? Because I know it's going back a while, to be fair, but when he came in, he was showing flashes, on a lot more regular basis, but he was showing flashes of brilliances, with skills and whatnot. And then,
I remember him looking quality from earlier. I think a lot of his problem was the end product. A lot of his problem was
He used to do too many step overs.
yeah, too many step overs.
yeah.
Once
The main
he-
thing with Ronaldo is he came in fearless, just would take on any defender.
Yeah.
But Lamela does look a little bit sheepish at times, from what I've seen.
apart from that Rabona goal on ITV4.
Keep on forgetting that was against a real lower league team. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I reckon I could have banged in a Rabona in my slippers against. Like, not even gassing, but
So I was gonna say
I'm gassing a little bit, to be honest. But
Bilz, do you reckon that this Harry Kane situation might end up like if he has another 6 season, think of the possibilities of this. If Harry Kane has another 6 season, is this surely not going to be Bale Part 2? Like,
could be, but I don't think Bell owed us much apart from putting in a few good seasons, and I reckon he could have gone the season before, but he owed us respect to not have put in his transfer request.
So scenario, Harry Kane gets 30 goals in the season, finishes Premier League top scorer,
if he gets that again, he's hot property.
but
Again.
you don't make top 4. Can you realistically hold on to
Yeah,
Harry
do you
Kane?
know what? I reckon we can because I've seen him in pre-season and he's been wearing a captain's armband, and I reckon when you become captain, it's a different responsibility, especially with your boyhood club. I don't think you just leave.
Robin van Persie,
Yeah, but he don't owe Arsenal nothing.
Des Fabregas.
Man put in a shift for Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? He done his time at Arsenal. He put in the work.
Don't know.
He deserved to go off in his late 20s and win the league, which he did. He knew it weren't going to happen at Arsenal. But
So you're saying that because Harry Kane's young, he might not feel as pressured to leave just because a big club comes in. Is that what you're saying?
if he hit past 25 or even a couple of years and he sees that it's not going to help his personal career development, then fair play. I reckon Tottenham fans will allow, you know what I mean? Like Arsenal fans allowed Van Persie, there were no real arguments about it because they knew that he wants to win the league or he wants to win trophies, and that's, that was his ambition. But
Now,
I think he can. I think he'll be able to stay for a couple of years. Like I say, he's been holding the armband.
But I'm not gonna lie, I don't see any loyalty in football anymore, man. Like, it's just ruthless now. Like, people don't care, bruv. Do we not see what happened to Delph the other week? Like, no one cares, man.
That was a bit political, but again,
and he was the captain.
they're not boyhood fans. They didn't come through the ranks properly. Like,
I would like to believe you, yeah. I would like to believe you. I hope that you're right, man. But boy, I don't know.
one person who's impressed me though, I've got to shout out his name for pre-season, Dele Alli.
Yeah,
Not because I share his surname, but because he's actually played quite well since he's come through.
What stood out to you about him?
I watched him against Real Madrid yesterday. We lost 2-0, but I think he was the only
And,
highlight.
and Bale scored as well. Tense, man.
Ooh, very tense. But
What,
like I said, he was one of the only highlights at the game.
what position does he play?
Anywhere between centre mid and attacking mid. I
Okay.
think Seb mentioned earlier he could play defensive mid. So I reckon anywhere in the centre midfield area. But he looks like the real deal. I reckon as long as we
So who would he compete with, like realistically? Like what, Ericsson or something? Or
I'd say I think he can compete with Mason. I think he could compete with Ericsson, but I don't think he'll have much luck. But I think Mason really, because he's someone he seems strong on the ball.
you say that, but like Ericsson at the end of last season he weren't really like, you know how he started off strong.
Yeah,
Like after like Christmas he started to die down like
yeah.
slowly, and he weren't really shining like before.
You can't, from Tottenham's point of view, you can't afford to leave a player like Ericsson out of your team because he's won us too many games, last minute goals.
So what, you think he's a certain 10? He's like in the squad, in the first team, boom,
Yeah,
in every game.
if we're going to be going for, it's going to be very difficult to challenge for the top four. But if we're going to be doing it, you need the players who can score. Goals win games, and he's shown. He's played two seasons, and he's both the seasons scored.
Yeah, I like Ericsson. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, very good player. Very good player. So Perry, where do you think Spurs will finish this season? What does next season like? What does this season have in store for Spurs?
I see them getting like pipped for fifth, man. I don't see them getting fifth this season, man.
So
Realistically.
who do you reckon will pip
That's
them?
the position, Perry. Is that what you're saying?
Huh?
Yeah, I was going for that fourth position. Is that what
No,
you're
no,
saying?
no, I don't, innit? Like,
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it.
So Perry, what was that? They're gonna.
I reckon they're gonna get their fifth spot taken. I reckon they're gonna get moved down to like sixth or seventh, man. I reckon like they're gonna be directly competing with Liverpool again
Yeah.
for
So,
fifth or sixth, and I reckon that who do I reckon could pip them? Possibly Southampton or Swansea pipping for that fifth or sixth spot, man. I think maybe Southampton might come in with that sneak move.
Yeah. Seb, what do you think?
Yeah, I have to agree with Perry, man. Liverpool and Southampton have both brought quite well, strengthened in the right areas. So I think it's going to be quite hard for Spurs to like confidently say, yeah, we're going to take fifth. I don't see them competing for the top four though. I think Chelsea, Man City, United, Arsenal would have brought enough to pull away from the rest behind.
Personally, I would say Spurs. I'd agree with Seb and Perry, and I'd say Spurs are gonna finish. I'll say sixth, just behind Liverpool. But it's only right that we give the Spurs fan Bilz the last word. What do you think is in store for Spurs' 2015-2016 season?
I would love to say to finish fourth. As much as you can never really predict what's going to happen in the league, because one of the young players or any of the players could replicate Harry Kane, start banging goals, and there we have it. We could end up competing. But as it stands, I'd like to agree with you guys. To be fair, fifth or sixth, surprisingly, but I think nevertheless it'll be a good season for us in terms of playing good football, playing teams off the park with our double training sessions, and a lot of young. I don't think people understand how many young players are pushing through and knocking on the first team door. Like there's a lot of we've got a good youth development going on, and we've got a lot of players coming through. So I think.
What do you say? What do you mean by double training session?
Well, since Pochettino come through, he brought in double training sessions, which a lot of the big heads didn't like. Like Kabul, he got kicked out. At the has been kicked out. Like frozen out of the team because they don't agree with his methods. But there's been games where it's really helped us score in the last.
What do you mean by double? What, 2 in a day or?
To be honest, I don't even know what they mean by it, but it double the usual amount.
Yeah, it's double the length. Pochettino's big on like super fitness. That's his thing, and we know all about Spurs and last minute goals.
As long as it doesn't give you guys injuries, then I can't see how that would be negative, really.
No, well, I think in terms of energy and keep like if we've got more energy, you can make less mistakes. And I think we can only from now, as long as Pochettino keeps his job, I think it's on as much as I'd have to agree with you guys. I say we, you know, more than likely finish fifth or sixth. I'd say from current position, I'd say we're only going to be moving upwards, just purely back to the amount of quality youth players we've got coming through, a few gems that we've got at the moment, and you know the training regimes that we've got and the system that we're playing. I think, and the top quality coach as well. Like hats off to him. He's a good coach and he's a good tactician. So I think onwards and upwards. I think we're only going to improve from now onwards. But in answer to your question, long way round it, fifth or sixth.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us, Bills, man. It's been good.
No, thanks,
Been good.
man.